There is a side of you that you have been told to hide, a side that whispers in the dark, that calculates when others celebrate, that watches when others sleep. Society gave it a name. They called it dangerous, they called it toxic, they called it evil, and you believed them. You pushed it down, locked it away, smiled when you wanted to destroy, stayed quiet when you wanted to roar. And look where that got you. Overlooked, underestimated, forgotten. Tonight, that changes. What you're about to hear is not motivation. It is not comfort. It is a blueprint written in shadow and forged in cold, unapologetic truth. Machiavelli understood something 5 centuries ago that most men will never grasp in a lifetime. The ones who rule this world did not get there by being good. They got there by mastering the darkness that lives inside every single one of us, including you. The dark side exists. Stop running from it. Every man alive carries 2 versions of himself. There is the version the world sees, the polite one, the agreeable one, the one who nods and smiles and plays along with the script society handed him at birth. And then there is the other one, the one that sits behind your eyes when someone disrespects you and you say nothing. The one that tightens your jaw when a lesser man takes what should have been yours. That version is not your enemy. That version is your power, but you were taught to fear it. From the moment you could understand language, they programmed you. Be nice, be humble, do not be aggressive, do not be too ambitious, do not intimidate. They trained you like a dog to sit, to stay, to heel, and you obeyed. You buried your instincts under layers of politeness, and in return, the world gave you nothing. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that a man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him among so much that is evil. Read that again. He told you 500 years ago that your goodness would be your grave. The dark side is not madness. It is not cruelty without cause. It is awareness. It is the ability to see the world, not as you wish it were, but as it actually is, ruthless, competitive, and completely indifferent to your feelings. The moment you accept that your darkness is not a flaw, but a tool, everything shifts. You stop apologizing for your ambition. You stop shrinking yourself to make weak people comfortable. You stop pretending that the world rewards kindness equally. It does not. It never has. And the sooner you make peace with the shadow inside you, the sooner you become the man that no one can control, manipulate, or break. Machiavelli's forbidden truth: morality is a leash. Let me tell you something that will make comfortable people hate you. Morality, as you have been taught it, was not designed to make you powerful. It was designed to make you manageable. Think about it. Who benefits when you play fair while others cheat? Who wins when you turn the other cheek while someone strikes you twice? Not you. Never you. Machiavelli saw this with terrifying clarity. He watched princes fall, not because they were weak in body, but because they were weak in strategy. They clung to virtue like a drowning man clings to a rock, and the current still took them under. He did not say morality was useless. He said something far more dangerous. He said morality must serve you, not enslave you.
There is a difference between being a good man and being a controllable man, and the world has spent centuries blurring that line deliberately. They taught you guilt. They taught you shame. They gave you invisible chains made of right and wrong, and you wore them proudly, while the man above you played by a completely different set of rules. The powerful do not operate on the same moral code as the powerless. They never have. Kings did not build empires through kindness. Generals did not win wars through compassion. CEOs do not dominate markets by being fair. They understood that morality is a language, not a law. You speak it when it serves you. You set it aside when survival demands it. This does not make you evil. This makes you awake. The man who refuses to see the game is not noble. He is a pawn, and pawns do not last long on the board.
Machiavelli did not write The Prince to create villains. He wrote it to stop good men from being destroyed by their own goodness. That is the truth they never wanted you to read. The Mask of Power. Learn to wear many faces. You have been told your entire life to be authentic, be yourself, show the world who you really are, and that advice has cost you more than you realize. The most powerful men in history were not authentic, they were adaptive. They did not show the world who they were, they showed the world exactly what was needed in that moment to win. Machiavelli understood that the human face is the greatest weapon ever created. Not the fist, not the sword, the face, because it can lie without speaking a single word. A smile can disarm a rival, silence can terrify a room. Calmness in chaos can make men follow you without question. You must learn to wear faces the way a general wears armor, deliberately, strategically, and without guilt. This is not deception for the sake of cruelty. This is survival architecture. The man who shows all of himself to everyone gives his enemies a blueprint to destroy him. Every fear you reveal becomes a lever. Every insecurity you expose becomes a target. Every emotion you display without purpose becomes a weapon in someone else's hands. Study the people around you. The ones who rise are never the most honest. They are the most controlled. They know when to show anger and when to bury it. They know when to appear generous and when to reveal teeth. They read rooms the way predators read landscapes, scanning for weakness, calculating distance, choosing the perfect moment to move. You do not owe the world transparency. You owe yourself protection. Learn to be the man who laughs with wolves and walks with lions. Learn to shift your energy depending on who stands before you. The man with one face is predictable. The man with many faces is untouchable. And in the game of power, predictability is the first step toward your own destruction. Master the mask or become a victim of those who already have. Emotional detachment, the weapon they never see coming. Your emotions are not your strength. Not yet. Not until you learn to control them with the precision of a surgeon holding a blade. Right now, your emotions control you. They make you react when you should observe. They make you speak when you should be silent. They make you explode when you should be calculating your next 3 moves. And every single time you lose control, someone in the room takes note. Someone files that information away. Someone now knows exactly how to pull your strings the next time they need you weak.
Emotional detachment is not coldness. It is not numbness. It is the deliberate decision to feel everything and show nothing until the moment is right. The Stoics called it apatheia, not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. Machiavelli took it further. He watched men lose kingdoms not because their armies failed, but because their tempers did. A prince who acts in anger hands his crown to whoever provoked him. Think about every mistake you have ever made, every relationship you destroyed, every opportunity you lost, every fight you should have walked away from. Trace it back far enough and you will find the same cause every single time, an uncontrolled emotion that hijacked your mind and made the decision for you. The powerful man does not suppress his rage, he stores it. He does not ignore his pain, he converts it. He takes every wound, every betrayal, every humiliation, and he feeds it into a furnace that burns quietly inside him, fueling his ambition without ever burning his strategy. When you stop reacting and start responding, you become invisible to manipulation. No one can hurt a man they cannot read. No one can control a man who does not flinch. Detach from the noise. Detach from the chaos. Let the world scream while you sit in silence, watching, learning, and preparing your next move with ice in your veins and fire in your chest. The art of strategic cruelty, when kindness is weakness.
There will come a moment in your life when kindness will be the wrong move, not because kindness is inherently weak, but because the person standing in front of you will mistake it for submission. And in that moment, if you choose softness over strength, you will lose something you can never get back: respect. Machiavelli wrote that cruelty well used is that which is applied at one stroke out of necessity and is not continued. He was not endorsing violence, he was teaching precision. There are moments when the sharpest thing you can do is cut someone off without warning, end a relationship without explanation, walk away from a deal without looking back, deny someone access to you without apology. The world will call it cruel. Let them, because the alternative is far worse: a slow bleed of your time, your energy, and your dignity at the hands of people who never deserved any of it. Most men are destroyed not by their enemies, but by their tolerance. They tolerate disrespect because they fear confrontation. They tolerate betrayal because they fear loneliness. They tolerate mediocrity because they fear the cost of ambition. And that tolerance eats them alive from the inside, one compromise at a time, until there is nothing left of the man they were supposed to become. Strategic cruelty is not about hurting people for pleasure. It is about removing what threatens your growth with surgical accuracy and zero hesitation. It is the ability to look someone in the eye and say no without your voice shaking. It is the willingness to burn a bridge that leads nowhere, even when the fire makes you uncomfortable. Silence, patience, and the long game. The loudest man in the room is never the most dangerous. Remember that. The one you should fear is the one sitting quietly in the corner, watching everything, saying nothing, and taking mental notes that will resurface at the exact moment they are most devastating. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the accumulation of it. Every word you do not speak is a card you keep in your hand while everyone else throws theirs on the table. Machiavelli observed that men are so simple and so subject to present needs that the one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. And the man who speaks too soon, who reveals his plans too early, who announces his moves before they are made, that man is handing ammunition to everyone around him. Patience is the most violent weapon in existence because no one sees it coming. The impatient man chases, the patient man attracts. The impatient man reacts to every provocation. The patient man lets provocations pile up until the perfect counter reveals itself. Most men fail not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they lack the discipline to wait. They want results now. They want recognition now. They want revenge now. And that urgency makes them sloppy, predictable, and easy to defeat. The long game is not glamorous. No one writes stories about the years of silence before the empire was built. No one celebrates the hundreds of nights spent alone, refining, studying, sharpening. But those nights are where empires are born. In the darkness, in the waiting, in the discipline of doing nothing when everything inside you screams to move. Let them talk. Let them rush. Let them expose their weaknesses while chasing short-term victories that mean nothing. You are not playing their game. You are building something they will not see until it is far too late, and by then, there will be nothing they can do to stop you. Fear versus love. Why respect outweighs affection. Machiavelli asked a question that has haunted ambitious men for centuries. Is it better to be loved or feared? His answer was surgical. It is best to be both. But since the two rarely exist together, if one must choose, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Most men spend their entire lives chasing love. Love from women, love from friends, love from family, love from strangers on the internet who do not even know their real name. and in that desperate chase, they hand away pieces of themselves, like a man throwing gold coins at a crowd that will forget his name by morning. Love is conditional. Love is temporary. Love shifts with convenience and disappears the moment you stop being useful. But respect, true, bone-deep respect, is earned through strength, consistency, and the quiet understanding that you are not a man to be tested. Fear is not about terrorizing people. Forget that childish interpretation. Fear in the Machiavellian sense is the awareness others carry that crossing you has consequences, that your boundaries are not suggestions, that your silence is not weakness, but a warning, that beneath your calm exterior lives something they do not want to provoke. The man who is loved but not respected becomes a doormat with a fan club. People will smile at him, take from him, applaud him publicly and betray him privately without a second thought. But the man who is respected moves through the world differently. Doors open not because people adore him, but because people understand his value and his volatility. He does not beg for attention, he commands it by the weight of his presence alone. Stop asking the world to love you. Start building a version of yourself that the world cannot afford to disrespect. Love fades with circumstance. Respect survives through generations. The prince who chases affection inherits nothing. The prince who commands respect inherits everything. The psychology of self-mastery, conquering your own mind. Every empire that ever fell did not crumble because of an outside enemy. It crumbled because of rot from within. And you are no different. You can study every strategy Machiavelli ever wrote. You can master every dark psychology principle ever documented.
You can learn to read people, manipulate situations, and navigate power like a chess grandmaster. But none of it will save you if you cannot conquer the one opponent who knows every single one of your weaknesses, yourself. Your mind is both your throne and your prison. Undisciplined, it will feed you lies dressed as comfort. It will tell you to rest when you should be working. It will tell you to quit when you're closer than you have ever been. It will replay your failures on a loop at 3 in the morning and convince you that you are not built for greatness. And if you listen, if you obey that undisciplined voice, you will live a life so far beneath your potential that it will haunt you on your deathbed. Self-mastery is the war before all wars. It is waking up when your body begs for sleep. It is choosing discipline when motivation has abandoned you completely. It is sitting with discomfort, with loneliness, with doubt, and refusing to let any of it alter your trajectory by a single degree. Machiavelli studied princes who conquered nations but could not conquer their own appetites, and every one of them fell. Lust destroyed them, greed blinded them, pride made them careless. They defeated armies of thousands but lost to an enemy of one. You must become your own harshest general. Audit your weaknesses with brutal honesty. Identify the patterns that keep pulling you backward. Starve the habits that weaken you and feed the ones that sharpen you. The man who masters himself needs no external validation, no permission, and no applause. He becomes his own empire, self-governed, self-sustained, and absolutely unbreakable from the inside out. Becoming untouchable, building an empire within. There is a level of power that has nothing to do with money, status, or influence. It is the level where nothing external can disturb your internal world, where insults do not land, where rejection does not sting, where failure does not define, where betrayal does not break. This is what it means to be untouchable, and it is not something you are born with. It is something you build, brick by brick, scar by scar, in the silence where no one is watching and no one is clapping. Most men build outward. They build businesses, reputations, social circles, empires of appearance that look impressive from the outside but collapse at the first real storm.
They surround themselves with people who validate them, possessions that distract them, and achievements that numb them. And when the storm comes, and it always comes, they shatter because there was nothing real holding them together. The untouchable man builds inward first. He builds a mind that cannot be infiltrated by doubt. He builds a discipline that does not depend on circumstances. He builds an emotional fortress so deep and so reinforced that the world can throw its worst at him and he will still be standing when the dust settles, unmoved, unshaken, and already planning his next move. Machiavelli knew that the prince who depends on the loyalty of others builds his house on sand. Fortune changes, allies betray, markets crash, relationships dissolve. The only thing that remains constant is the man you have built yourself into when no one was watching. This is why solitude is not your punishment, it is your laboratory. Every hour spent alone refining your mind, your body, your strategy, your vision is an hour invested in the only asset that can never be taken from you.
Stop building for applause. Stop constructing a life designed to impress people who do not care about you. Build something that cannot be burned down by circumstance, stolen by betrayal, or weakened by time. Build yourself into a man who does not need the world to cooperate in order to win. Because the truly untouchable man does not rise above his enemies, he rises above his need for anything outside of himself. And that is the most terrifying kind of power that exists. A man who needs nothing, fears nothing, and answers to no one but the empire he has built within his own unbreakable mind. The final law: embrace the darkness and rise. You have listened this far for a reason, not because you were curious, not because you were bored, but because something inside you recognized every single word as a truth you have been running from your entire life. The darkness you were told to suppress is the very thing that will set you free. Not the kind of freedom the world advertises, the comfortable, passive, mediocre freedom of a man who fits in and follows instructions. No, the freedom of a man who has looked into the deepest, most dangerous parts of himself, and instead of flinching, instead of turning away, he reached in and pulled out a weapon that no one on this earth can take from him. Machiavelli did not write for the weak. He did not write for the comfortable. He wrote for the man standing at the edge of who he is and who he is meant to become, staring into the void and deciding whether to step forward or crawl back to safety. You are standing at that edge right now. Everything you have heard tonight is useless if you do not act on it. Knowledge without execution is entertainment. Strategy without application is fantasy. You can memorize every law of power ever written and still die powerless if you never have the courage to apply them in the real world, where it is messy, painful, and unforgiving. So here is the final law, the one Machiavelli never wrote down but lived with every breath. Embrace what they fear about you. Embrace the ambition that makes small people uncomfortable. Embrace the silence that makes loud people nervous. Embrace the discipline that separates you from every man who chose comfort over greatness. Embrace your darkness not as a curse, but as the foundation upon which your empire will be built. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be safe. You are here to rise, to conquer, to become the version of yourself that lesser men will study and fear for generations. If this spoke to something deep inside you, drop a comment right now with the words, "I am the darkness that rises." Let that be your declaration. Let that be the moment you decided to stop hiding and start ruling. Now hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another lesson that the world does not want you to learn. The game has changed, and now so have you.